another thing that I want to bring your attention to, our favorite friend Nintendo now in the spotlight, because I came across this Reddit post, which is can you guys see? There you go. This Reddit post is talking about how this player got a permanent ban on their Switch 2 that cannot be revoked. So there was a little bit of misinformation spreading around regarding to this piece of news, but I just want to clarify that this person, so I'll just read it out. It says, I let everyone in my family use Nintendo Switch 2 system, and as a result, my sister uses it. Her username was recently changed to Twink Link. I mean, great gamer tag name, great gamer name, but it led to a console ban. I am fully prevented from accessing any Nintendo services at all on the system. I'm unable to contact support as they're too busy with complaints right now, but this has been incredibly stressful. We were all so excited to be playing Breath of the Wild again. Yeah, this is a shit news. Anyway, then he did an update, final edit. Nintendo is actively working to resolve the issue in question, and my console is being unbanned. It wasn't the username that caused the issue like the initial support agent claimed. Rather, it was flagged by accident, and as such, they are working to fix it. Interesting, don't you think? I think there's a few layers to this news, I think. Initially, this news was going around because, like he mentioned, when he contacted Nintendo, they were saying that they can't revoke their ban on Switch 2, which is essentially locking him out of pretty much, rendering Switch 2 unusable. Pretty much. That's what it means. You can't access online features. You can't access the eShop. You can't even download the games that you already own. Or, you can just, maybe you can play the games that's already on it, but you can't even download your games that you own. Which is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. So I don't know. And this piece of news kind of went viral, and then this edit came. So I don't know if this is because has something to do with PR management on Nintendo's behalf. They didn't want more shit than they've been getting already. They've been getting a lot of shit since Switch 2. I feel like, people are not calling it out as much as I hope they would, but the whole Switch 2 launch has been very reminiscent of the Xbox One launch. I don't know if you guys remember how Xbox One launch was. It was a crazy launch. Xbox One launch disaster. Maybe we can come up with. Yeah, so here, this is just the AI breakdown, but the Xbox One initial reveal and launch were widely considered a disaster due to a focus on entertainment features over gaming, restrictive DRM policies, and higher price point compared to the competition. Yeah. And yeah, they had a lot of restrictions attached to this gaming, and it has to be, back then, always online wasn't a thing. People weren't too crazy about having their consoles and gaming always being connected to online. There was a lot of pushback against that kind of practices back then, although at this point, right now, it's kind of become the norm. And, people have increasingly gained a lot of access to internet and have readily available fast speeds and unlimited internet now. It's become less of an issue now. So, they have sneakily put these features in games and systems without even telling us. But back then, when PS4 and Xbox One was coming out, having to have your console always connected to online in order to use it, having to have your games so you can play games, even because the DRM worked that way. It needed to validate your disc in order to play it, so it had to be connected to online, all that. So it was very ridiculous. And you weren't allowed to share your games, even the physical copies you couldn't share with your friends. So if you bought a game physical copy, and because of this whole DRM system with the Xbox, you played it and it was registered to you. And if you just share that with somebody else, like a friend or like a sibling or whatever, you just couldn't. Or like maybe you wanted to sell it, you couldn't. It just made, I mean, the funny thing is, this is exactly how it works now in the digital storefronts. I mean, you buy a game, it's yours, you can't share it, right? But except that whole thing 11 years ago with Xbox One with physical copies. So people were understandably mad. And even Sony made fun of it by releasing a video, Sony share games video. It was this one. I don't know if you've seen this.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Yeah.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
Yeah, so there you go. That's what happened. So there, I mean, this was 12 years ago. 12 years ago, they were making fun of being able to share games, and the irony is now we have come full circle to this moment. You can't really share games anymore because everything's going digital, no more physical copies. I mean, there are still physical copies, but it's getting harder and harder to share games anymore because publishers are also slowly moving away from having physical copies available slowly to digital only releases, which automatically now means you can't share your games. You buy them, it's attached to your accounts. That's it. You can't trade them. You can't do any of that. So, and games are much more expensive now. So, welcome to gaming, in a very expensive hobby to maintain. But there you go. So, yeah. So that's what's been happening with PlayStation. But getting back to my the topic that I was talking about, which is about the Switch 2 username ban. They are saying that they're unbanning it probably because Nintendo doesn't want any more shit, so they're trying to work it out. This is gonna be painful for most people if this actually happens to people, right? And I don't think it makes sense. Switch 2 is basically buying a license to play your games, specifically Nintendo games now. You buy the console, but you don't actually own it because they can break it for you anytime and they will not be able to revoke it. That's what they're saying. So if they put a ban on your console, I mean, not a game, not your account, your console, you can't play the games. You cannot use the console that you bought with your hard-earned money because you made a mistake on it and they thought that it's enough to ban you. That's the kind of world that we're living in right now. So think about that for a second. Yeah, it is an awesome username. Banned over words allowed, but yeah, I mean, we thought that it was the name Twink Link, which is an awesome name, I suppose. But apparently it's not the username. It was flagged for some other reason. The stupid AI algorithms or something. I don't know what it was. It's not very clear. I don't have the full picture here. But yeah, this is just a piece of news I thought was very interesting and kind of alarming. What do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you think Nintendo should be doing this? I mean, I obviously think they shouldn't. This is very much dystopian to me at this point. I don't even know how they allowed this kind of behavior and how they're allowed to even get away with it. I know it's a century-old company that's been here forever, but the fact that people aren't even questioning it enough, and there's no real pushback against these practices, it's kind of nuts to me. doesn't make much sense to me.